We got sound.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Start over.
Thanks for sticking in
Greasy,
there, guys.
greasy eyes. Do you ever get like? I have really greasy skin, and I rub my eyes and it gets into my eyes and they get
okay.
super watery and burn. Does that happen to you?
No, exactly the opposite actually. My eyes get so dry that they start to water.
Do you want some? Do you want some of my oil? My oily skin. Apparently, I did my genealogy and I'm like, Italian. So I was like, maybe it's my Italian olive skin.
You
I don't
also
know.
were born here, right? I bet.
What do you mean born here?
Well, I was born in a tropical, very humid area.
Okay, well, let's get it straight, Marina. Okay, want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes.
Welcome to the Land of Enlightenment podcast. I'm
Thank you.
Oscar.
Hello.
Who are you? What's your name?
Marina.
Marina.
Yes.
And where were you born?
I was born in south of Brazil.
Okay.
I like to say almost Paraguay and Uruguay.
Almost Paraguay and Uruguay.
Yes.
But better.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No offense to any Paraguayans or Uruguayans. Sorry if I'm going to keep rubbing my eyes. It's just, I'm just very emotional with eye grease.
Yeah.
I need some,
There you
I'm
go.
the one that needs a tissue.
Tissues.
But the reason I say that it's you say it's tropical, but I'm like, is it really that tropical down there?
It's very tropical.
Really? I thought it was more like European.
No. Daily 95% humidity.
95?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
we
more.
have around, I would say 15% here.
Yeah.
Right.
5 to 15.
If it's at 40, it's humid.
Yeah.
It's humid.
It's
in
rainy.
In the
If
swamp
it's a
coolers.
yeah. 40
So,
it's rainy.
if you had to pick a place in the U.S., what place would it most likely look like?
Huh.
Is there a place that even
Not
resembles
New
it?
York, that's for sure. People say it's humid there. You have no idea what humid is. Or maybe Miami.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went just once there, but I remember mold in the walls. And that's
In
the-
Miami?
Yeah.
Well, it's just that's what
No.
Florida is. Just a
Yeah,
piece of
yeah,
mold
yeah.
at the end of
Yeah,
America.
That's the way back home is. Every year we have to sand the walls and repaint it.
Every
because-
year.
Yep.
So you're in
Brazil.
Porto Alegre. Is
Yes,
where
Porto
you're
Alegre.
from.
Mhm.
And which I mean, for having studied Brazil, I've never been, which is taboo,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Well,
So
you've
it's
been to
like- like-
Portugal.
I've been to Portugal, and that's why I got into the language. Well, also because of my Brazilian friends, but that's where I got to use it, like in action,
Uh-oh.
in person.
Uh-oh.
What?
I lost.
Well, I think it's
lost
just the
audio.
headphones.
Oh, okay.
I
Good.
think it's just the headphones.
Okay, good. I was just gonna compliment. Brazilian friends and lovers. I was gonna say, right?
And
You
lovers.
had some Brazilian girlfriends, didn't you? I heard about it also.
Who are you talking about? who have you heard about? I want to know. I'm not gonna incriminate myself.
No.
Who have you heard about? No, go ahead.
No, Larissa.
Well, Larissa was a love interest, but we were never together.
Really?
Were we?
Huh. I think you guys dated for a while now.
Larissa and I were like a very like kind of flirty back and forth.
Okay.
We thought one another was like smart, and we like talking about art and communism.
Nice.
And I loved the crap out of her. I
Yeah,
thought she was
she
amazing.
is.
She's awesome. She's studying at the University of Minnesota now.
Yeah.
She's
A
a
PhD.
PhD
Yeah.
candidate too.
Yeah.
She's
And-
awesome.
And I never realized actually, because I was from political science, and I
Mhm.
never realized she actually is from literature, and she does exactly what we do now.
I
you
know- I know-
I
I
mean,
know-
we do exactly what she has been doing for
This
a
whole
long time.
time.
Yeah.
Right, but I should have known because she was always pulling out authors,
Yeah,
and this
yeah,
and that, talking
yeah,
about literature.
yeah,
But brilliant individual.
Yeah,
amazing person.
Yeah.
She had to go back to Brazil, and she never came back.
Well,
she didn't like the U.S.
well, she came back for a master's.
She came back.
I met her in New York.
Oh.
2 years ago. She was here for a master. She found her an American man.
Yeah.
And
she
now
did.
she's back for good.
Is she married?
Together, I think.
Kind of like with the Marina program, which is like come meet an American and then have a kid.
Oh,
get married.
come on.
Well, get married, the kid. You know, I remember this. There was this one time, Marina. Yeah, I've told the story. You remember it, I think. We were at the Ghetto Smith's here in Albuquerque.
Uh-huh.
It's a specific Smith's if you're not from here.
Which is a grocery store
It's
if
just-
you're also not from here.
If you know Kroger brand,
Uh-huh.
Fred Meyer, it's the same brand. It's the same brand.
Safeway. It's the same as Safeway.
Yeah.
Same thing as Safeway. So we were sitting at the Ghetto Smiths in the student ghetto, and it was you, Larissa, and Eliani.
Oh yeah, you like that story.
Yeah, the three of you in the back seat of the car. I was underage. The three of you were back there. I think you just didn't want to get out, and somebody gets out of the car to go get booze, right?
Yeah.
And then I hear you. I know Spanish. I don't know Portuguese at the time. And the three of you are just like chattering about something. I don't know Portuguese, and then I just hear green card. Chat, green card. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting like kind of the gist of the conversation through this one thing, right? Because it's kind of similar. And then I think it's specifically you. You're like, so Oscar, are you American? And I turn around and said, why? Does one of you want a green card? And just the look on your faces when I say that, it was priceless to say that. It was so fun. It was fun.
Well, it's worth saying we were playing with stereotypes and joking around ourselves, right?
Oh, really?
Of course, yeah.
What's the perception of Americans in Brazil?
No. We're playing with our own stereotypes, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So with that stereotype that we have of Brazilians coming to the West with that idea of getting a husband and a green card, we're just making fun of each other because Larissa had a crush on you, right?
Yeah.
So we were just teasing and using that stereotype.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work. But she's happy now. I'm happy now.
She has a green card now.
She has a green one.
No, I don't know.
I hope she's not listening.
Can people call in?
No, they can
But
chat.
they can chat with
Oh,
us.
cool.
So we do have live listeners. But no, she's great. And
Yeah.
so you're talking about Larissa, and then Ana.
Yes.
And then Ana.
Anna, yes.
Anna. And Anna was great too.
I was completely forgetting that, yeah.
Yeah, so you thought it was just one.
Yeah,
See, I
yeah,
told
yeah.
you I didn't want to say anything. because I was
Anna,
incriminating myself.
Anna, your other Brazilian.
My other Brazilian.
And you dated Anna for a long time. For not a long
Not for a long
time.
time. Anna and I were very close because we were in the same cohort together for grad school.
Yeah.
And we got very close, and like I miss that girl, man. She's so
Yeah,
cool. She's
yeah.
great. And I don't know what it is, it's like Brazilians, man. You just have a way
Yeah.
of just charming me. I don't know if it's the accent, I don't know if it's the culture, I don't know. Can you enlighten me a little bit? Maybe it's all of it?
I have no idea. I have
You
no idea.
So you came here, tell us a little bit about how you came to be in Albuquerque. What year was that?
I got to Albuquerque in beginning of 2008.
Okay.
So I got here for grad school.
Okay.
Got here, received a letter saying I was accepted for grad school.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's what I thought it said, right?
Yeah.
Sold everything there, quit my job, got money to come, bought the ticket, got the visa with this letter, right?
Yeah.
Got here and found out that I hadn't submitted my GRE. I hadn't been accepted in the program, but I got a scholarship, and that letter was from the scholarship.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. You didn't know that story?
No,
That's
no.
funny.
Sounds like the best of bureaucracy right there.
Right, grad school, beginning of grad school. We're going to talk about
Oh,
grad school.
yeah.
We're going to get there, right?
Yeah, we'll get there.
So, yeah, this was my beginning of grad school, so I started to understand
So
from
was
day
this where I
one.
met you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were
No.
here for that.
So what happened was I had a ticket, I had a visa.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's dangerous to say that in the...
Whatever.
Yeah.
You're a citizen.
It's
You're a citizen
Yeah,
now.
I'm a citizen now, right? I'm protected by law. But I got so I had a ticket and everything, and my ticket was from New York to Albuquerque. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna stop in New York, and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped there, slept 2 nights at Penn Station,
Oh.
got a place, got a job, and stayed there a semester, and then applied again, and then I got in.
Okay. When was this?
This was 2007.
Okay. So I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I
I worked illegally there. Yeah.
in New York City?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Everyone works illegally in New York
Yeah,
City.
right.
That's what people do in big cities.
Yeah.
It's all immigrants.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And you know what? It was my first experience in United States, and I've never seen anyone working harder than immigrants in New York.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and wait, it wasn't your first experience though.
Well,
It was your first. You studied abroad in high school
I did. I went to
in Texas.
Texas.
Where in
yeah.
Texas?
a city about an hour north of Dallas called Collinsville.
Collinsville.
Uh-huh.
What was it like being from another country and coming straight into Texas?
Very rural. It was rural America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still really close with them.
I am
Whole
still very
family.
close with them. Yes, I'm
family.
very liberal. They're very conservative. The more I got
But
here,
you're, like,
and I
super
didn't even
liberal,
know what.
dude.
What?
You're really liberal.
I'm very liberal.
Even
yeah.
John, your husband, he's just like, dude, like, she's gonna cut my penis off. I was like, you ever wonder why she makes you cut the sausage for dinner, dude? He's like,
I know you guys are joking about
and
that.
he's like, what? What?
I have a baby with a head problem, and she wears a helmet, so I bought feminist stickers to her
Nice.
helmet. Yeah, John was not very thrilled about it.
But he's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're very conservative, but you're still really close with them.
Yes.
So
still
you
very
can
close to them.
coexist. See?
Yes, you can. And and this is one thing grad school taught me.
Okay.
You can coexist with people because you can see, it's terrible, but it's true.
Yeah.
You can see people as primary sources and kind of like don't argue with them, but
Yeah.
just observe them.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everything's an
And kind
anthropological
of,
study. Of
yes,
some
and
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
study
yeah.
them and try to understand the way they think and why they think that way. So,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
know, it's a learning experience. They were here about a month ago, and my mom, I call them mom and dad, she was talking about how terrible was those women that breastfed in public, right?
Oh wow.
And I'm just hearing that, and it's like a million things cross your mind, right? Like, should I say something?
Yeah.
And then, but no, just hear it's very,
Mhm.
very interesting to just hear and just like, huh, really?
So yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
a lot of people, it's hard to not react.
Yeah, it's hard to
If
not
you
react.
can with practice.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, they're not my in-laws quite yet, but they're
Really? They're the conservative?
they're super conservative.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's
But Emily's not.
Emily's not.
Okay.
Emily's just she's constantly apologizing for like being white. Dude,
Okay.
she's like, why was I born white? I'm sorry, you know, this and that. I'm like, it's cool.
The great white guilt.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you are who you are. You
Yeah.
use your privilege to help others out.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
You know, but her family's the other way. You know, and it's military, conservative.
Really? From
lots of
here,
money.
New Mexico.
No, they're from back east, up northeast. Dad's from Virginia,
Oh.
and mom is from Yonkers, New York.
Oh.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's just how they are, and it's just that. Here's the thing: it's just them two. On both sides of their family, their siblings, which they
Huh.
have big family. They're Irish Catholic, so they have big numbers, a lot of numbers.
Huh.
They're all very liberal,
Huh.
and I think it's
Interesting.
the only difference is that he's ex-military, so maybe. But, you know, I could say a lot about the military. We love our troops. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
And it's
Ooh.
but it's a lot of practice and kind of like holding back, biting your tongue, being like,
Yeah.
okay,
Just observing.
just observing.
And it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's very interesting.
absolutely. And I mean, I learn a lot. And I think because I've been able to do that, I've been able to kind of, in other situations, in political science classes,
Mhm.
stuff like that, just kind of to be able to sit back and be like, well, I disagree.
Yeah.
Let me work up my argument, find evidence for it, and then
Yeah.
just destroy you there.
You know, my dad is so conservative. I cannot even.
Oh no! I
Wrap
think
my head
I think
around
I mean
it.
I kind of got that, but
Yeah.
not. I mean, my interaction with your dad were he's very minimal with talking. He's not a big talker, was he?
He discusses a lot.
Well, I know your mom more because I tutored your mom in English.
Yeah.
And I mean, she loves talking.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and I've
yeah,
given
yeah.
her rides to the hospital and this and that,
Yeah.
and she just loves it.
Yeah, no, my dad is very conservative. He likes things.
Yeah. Oh no! You know what? How I know it's because I talked to your mom about it in our
Oh.
lessons, in our tutoring sessions.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh, my husband's so conservative sometimes, Oscar. I don't know." And then I'm just like, "Well, you know, love is love."
Yeah.
You know, and I tell her, "Love is love." So you just gotta do what you have to do. So I mean, anyways, but so you have conservative family, and do you find yourself surrounding yourself by like conservative people?
If I find myself what?
Surrounding yourself by conservative people?
No.
No.
Especially Well,
In academia,
family-wise,
maybe not so much.
No, yeah,
No.
in academia, everyone's liberal.
I don't know. Is everyone liberal?
Well, not really.
I like to equate like academia and knowledge and intelligence towards like enlightenment that leads towards liberal.
Well,
Which I found out today was created a bad word in the 80s. Liberals bad.
You remember a story I told you about your political science professor, didn't you?
See? All right. We're not going to mention names, but I have class with this guy, and today he talked to her about an exchange student who's in the class, having perfect English, and he was like, "That's fine, or whatever's good." And I was like, complete 180 from what you told me. Yeah, and I was like,
"No, you're kidding."
Yeah, so I was like, and my experience with him has been completely different, and I don't know what it is, Marina. I have no idea what it is.
I had to drop his class.
No, we're not saying
Because I went to him and I said, "I'm very sorry." You know, it was a blue book test.
Yeah.
Very extensive test.
Yeah.
International politics. And I went for him and I told, "I'm very sorry. I still commit some grammar mistakes. I'm from Brazil. I've been here just a year." And he said, "Well, that's not good. That's not acceptable." So I told him, "Do you want me to drop the class?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know."
Well, here's the thing. Maybe you were the reason he
Yikes.
changed.
What?
Maybe he
Maybe you're
realized
the reason
error
he
of his
changed.
ways.
You changed this man so much so that he's just a better human being. You think so?
Maybe. I had a feeling
Yeah.
he was very conservative, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. Quite the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was surprised.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Well, I walked into the class and I was like,
That was
expecting
8 years ago.
I know you've been here for almost a decade. Well, you were saying
You and
before-
Marianne too.
Marianne, who was on here last week.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about it that before we went on that you said we practically grew up together.
Yeah.
And in your 20s, you're growing, so
Yeah.
we did. We experienced a lot of crazy and fun
did.
together,
We did.
right?
We partied a lot.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Brooklyn, dude. Not Brooklyn, the borough in New York City, the drinking game, Brooklyn, which is I don't know if any of you guys.
I've never played this.
Have you heard of this?
No.
Brooklyn's this game where what is it? You have mugs, two
Yeah.
mugs.
No. Oh yeah, you have just two mugs.
Two mugs, and it's a larger group. You have maybe three, but the point of the game is to like bounce a quarter into the mug, and as soon as you bounce it, you pass it along.
Yeah.
But people can you could be missing continuously,
Yeah.
and people are getting it past you. The second you get jumped over or skipped, you have to take a drink.
That's right.
If the person if you get skipped and the person to your right makes it on the first shot, they can reverse it and skip it back.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Right, skip it backwards.
And
So
then you have to drink
So
again.
you drink again. So every time you get skipped, so if people are making it on your right and left, or making it on the first ones, you're drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, like you're one person. It's typically 1 to 2 people are just hammered drunk.
We had
Everyone else isn't.
this great house. It was a White House on Vassar, 3rd block of Vassar.
Let's just call it the White House.
Yeah, just the only White House actually, right?
Yeah, it
And,
was 310 Vassar.
Yeah.
And it had a
310
porch.
Vassar. They did have a porch.
It had a porch. It wasn't the only porch in the block, but it was like the porch where people
It's a
knew.
very nice house.
People would hang out there and hang out. It was just a cool spot for people, people in the neighborhood to hang out.
And it was kind of like a motherly house for the international students. I think.
International students could come by if they were new in town. They could stay with us.
Yeah.
Right, you
Yeah.
stayed there.
Yeah.
You stayed there. How long were you there?
A month.
A month.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people lived in that house.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
surprised they haven't demolished it. That thing is dirty and gross. It's just, don't take a black light to that house.
Ooh.
Remember that couch that was not in the front yard. We had a couch in the porch, but we also had a couch in the house.
I'm not sure how we didn't get bed bugs.
Bed bugs were an STD. It was bad. It was just disgusting. I don't know how much change there is into that porch. But some of the best times we had in college were at that house.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think about it all the time. And
isn't that interesting how life changes when you are in undergrad and then when you're in grad? Because you think about it, I'm just going to keep staying in college, it's fun, it's a good life. And then you go to grad school and it's like just, whoa.
Well, here's the thing.
This is completely different.
We've all done it. Kate, did you go straight from undergrad to doctor, or do you got your master's separately?
I got my master's separately.
So we all did the same thing. what is wrong with us that we got a master's degree and they were like, you know what, sign me up again.
Exactly.
For longer.
Well,
For longer.
maybe because we thought it was gonna be as fun as it was being in undergrad school.
Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is like, grad school is fine. It was a learning experience, but after the 2 years of a master's program, what was it specifically maybe for you? What was it that made you decide, I'm going to keep doing this?
You know, we were talking about this,
Yeah.
and then I created this theory. You want to hear it?
Okay.
I created this theory that I think, well, you're living surrounded by intelligent people, and people, the ones that are not intelligent are pretending they're intelligent, right?
Okay.
So you live surrounded by that, and I think it affects a lot our egos, maybe. And I think it's what keeps us there, maybe. We get hit in the head so hard so many times,
Okay.
and that at some point, I think myself, I thought, I cannot do anything else.
Yeah.
This is it. I cannot
Yeah.
I'm not capable of doing anything else.
Well, I mean, you ever watch the show Californication?
No.
What is it? The guy from X-Files, Mulder from X-Files.
David Duchovny.
David Duchovny.
Ugh.
He's in there, and he just plays this writer, and he's a crazy alcoholic, just party
Sex
animal.
addict.
Sex addict. But the only time that he's somewhat stable is when he's in academia.
Yeah.
Huh.
And there's a line specifically from a couple of these, one of these episodes where he's teaching at a university. She's like, leave him with us. We don't belong out there with everyone else.
Exactly.
We're just not
Yeah.
like everyone else.
Exactly. And it's not a good thing. You don't think you're better than everyone else. That's not
Some
it.
do.
Some, well, a lot.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
some,
Many do, actually.
Yeah. But in my case, it's like,
Yeah.
I cannot get a regular job. Like,
Yeah.
I already suck at this. I'm surrounded by smart people that are better than me. If I go to the job market, I'm going to be running against all these people that are
Yeah.
better than me. So
Yeah.
I better just stay in.
I guess, yeah. No, absolutely.
Does it make sense?
No, I mean, it makes absolute sense because that's what I was thinking too. Is that when I think of getting back into the job market, I'm terrified because I hated it. It's not that I didn't it's not that I couldn't do the 9 to 5 and work these hours or doing this or that. It was not for me. I wasn't made to be working those jobs, And I mean, I've worked hard labor. I mean, my side hustle in the summer is cleaning yards. I've done construction with my dad. I'm capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's just not. It's just not for me.
Huh.
It's not for me.
And what do you like about grad school? The times? Flexible times?
Well, you know what? There's a freedom in your schedule. Especially being a parent.
Yeah.
Being a parent, I can
it's a big deal.
drop my kids off at school.
Yeah.
I can pick them up after school.
Yeah.
I have winters and summers off.
Yeah.
Winter break and summer off.
Yeah.
And then if there is something in the middle of the day, it happens to fall like on a Wednesday or a Friday, which are my kind of free days, like a field trip, I can go on a field trip with my kid, and I have to ask for that time off.
Yeah.
So it's a more flexible schedule.
Yeah.
One, I like teaching.
Oh, yeah.
I've realized that it's like I
Yeah.
like being in the classroom in front of the college students, and being up there, and it's kind of performing at the same time.
Definitely.
Somebody came, one of the new grad students, they have them do observations of the last few years.
Yeah.
They came in and they're like, how do you keep them going? Because they get bored. And I was like, dude, you're up there, I'm like, I'm up there and I'm performing.
Yeah.
It's constant. I'm putting on a show.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm over here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I tell my students, I'm like, I have a built-in audience. You guys are working on my stand-up career. You're going to have to bear with my bad dad jokes, I tell my students. So I'm up there cracking them up.
Oh.
And it's distracting them from their phones.
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
distracting them. So, and I tell them, if you notice that sometimes we get out maybe like 5 minutes early, stuff like that, and it's because there's a pace. We're going. Asking any questions. I stop regularly to ask if they have questions. Yeah. But we keep it going.
Definitely.
Keep it going. No lulls in silence.
Yeah.
And something about it, I'm just like,
I know, right?
I've got it down, dude.
I had the other day someone complaining about it. Oh, Spanish student. I'm like, you know what? I thought about that, and I thought just Portuguese students are good. Spanish is just want the credit. They're bad students. I got into a Spanish classroom and it was absolutely fine. I was in love with my class. It was a great classroom. Yeah, participative students. Everything was fine.
I completely. I think. I mean, there's bad teachers. I don't think they're all bad teachers.
Yeah.
I think there's inexperienced instructors.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, I do too. I think teaching is a big part of why I stay in grad school too.
There's the opportunity to do that.
I love teaching.
Yeah. And then
I always tell my students, this makes my day every day.
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean, I get to teach 5 days a week. So I'm teaching 101 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 201 Tuesday, Thursday. Which is fine. But every day I get a little break from what it is that is my life.
Mm-hmm.
I get to go up there and just like interact with these students and not have to worry about anything else that's going on. Which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You know, another thing is I really enjoy the level of critical thinking. I'm already stuck in my head a lot. I overthink everything. But then you're put in a seminar with people who are being forced to do the same thing. So now I have people who are, if anything, as neurotic as I am, thinking critically about these things, and you can bounce ideas. There's a difference in discussion between the undergrad classes and graduate level classes.
Yeah, definitely.
There's just kind of just a different level of discussion.
I like that too, but sometimes in the classroom I'm just sitting there and we're going over something and I cannot find a deeper meaning. Why this matters.
Like, why does... Okay. Well, I mean...
Like Foucault, you know?
Don't talk shit about Foucault! It's like Tourette's guy.
Dude, I fucking hate Foucault.
Right?
Really?
Why?
I mean, so many people do. I get it.
Foucault.
People complain, and I'm like... It's difficult to read Foucault, but the second I'm done reading it, I'm just like, yeah.
I just
Like,
kind of...
alright.
I think he had some pretty interesting insights, but I'm just so over that style of writing.
Yeah.
Where it's just
Oh, the writing- no,
unbelievably
absolutely.
dense. Like,
The writing
most
is not
of
good.
Like
most of
Derrida,
cultural anthropology is like that as well, and I'm just like, why don't we, use a writing style that is more conducive to spreading discourse as opposed to isolating it?
There's
Exactly, especially because we're talking about oppression.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
exclusions and
Yeah, for
oppression.
sure.
So how come we're using that language to talk about this? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
I think it's across all fields where there's a shift happening. At least I know what I've been talking to some of my professors, because it's highly quantitative in poli-sci. But there's shifts, right, happening, and there's more qualitative articles being published. And it's a higher success rate of publishment if you're doing quantitative. But if you're doing qualitative and you're doing it well, you're going to get published in political science.
Yeah.
And the style of writing, and the ability, it just makes more sense when it's qualitative, and it makes more sense for the masses.
You do? You think that? We're
Absolutely.
gonna have to agree to disagree.
Why?
Because I think numbers make things more meaningful.
Numbers in our society, which places value in it.
Because I think
I don't think it's bad. I don't think we should get rid of it. I think a balance between the two of being like, okay, there's improper synthesizing of this information, of all this data analysis being kind of done to really make it easy for the masses to understand. Academics writing for academics, right? For the sake of academia.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I don't know if that's what you're disagreeing with, or is it just that numbers are important because numbers are important and qualitative maybe isn't?
Well, sometimes I think qualitative is very interpret. How do you say it? Interpretive.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Well,
Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
No, absolutely.
And emotional.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
And then it comes,
there
comes the idea. Why does it matter? Does it matter? Isn't it full of
I know.
emotional?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know. It's just
I
a
think-
thought that I have in the classroom a lot of
No,
times.
no. I mean, I can read 3 forever, but if it's not put into practice and there's no experiment being done, then you're like, why?
Exactly.
Why does this matter? How is this
Exactly.
going to help society? How is
Exactly.
it going to potentially create a solution?
Exactly.
I mean, you could read Foucault and then have no data and be like, okay, well, this is a great theory, in theory.
Yep.
How am I going to use it?
Exactly.
Right. Now, if you use that theory to create a hypothesis and then test it,
Exactly. That's a different thing.
but if you take the skill set and learn in, like, say, the humanities of writing and this style of writing and transfer it to other fields, I think that could benefit people.
Hmm.
Right?
But the
I don't
same
know.
thing and the same thing coming from humanities too. I think.
Oh, yeah.
My background's political science and journalism, and then coming into cultural studies, it's like I never just look at a text.
No.
That doesn't really exist to me. It's like
What's the
you
training
cannot
for?
understand the text. What's the point of analyzing a text? You know, you have to analyze the context it's in, and
Oh, absolutely.
And
I think, no, I just assume that's what people do. That's not what people do.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so
Our
that's where I'm
department,
wrong.
our
That's where I'm
department is focused on
Okay.
sociological reading, political readings of texts, and
So you're saying our department's specifically different?
from a lot of
saying
other
that
places.
well, my former department does that they do place it in context, or that
Yes.
they don't?
Yes.
They do.
No, they do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Social
Yeah.
justice, humanities,
Yes.
human
Exactly.
rights.
Exactly.
Whereas maybe the other side of the department just
Yes.
looks at the text as the text.
Exactly.
Does not place it in context, does not look at
Exactly.
how it reflects society.
Exactly.
Okay. Right. Which I love.
And
Which
I'm
think
thinking
is
about
great.
movie now, and let's put an example, right? Because we're talking so abstract. So we're analyzing a movie and the angles and the light, and
Yeah.
tell me what the point is. Explain it to me. Enlighten me. You know.
Of looking at lighting in the movie?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I studied film for undergrad, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's pick a film, a popular American film, right?
The Shining.
The Shining.
Ooh.
It's based on a book, for one.
Yep.
Right. And when was the book published? I know just funny. I just finished watching The Shining yesterday.
The Shining is
Again.
the one with Jack Nicholson, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson. So I mean, The Shining, the shots.
1977.
77. So it was made soon thereafter, almost immediately adapted.
Which is true of a lot of Stephen King.
Right. So it's almost straight to
Yeah, he's just kind of always been like
yeah.
book film.
Right. So horror cinema, which is funny because one of our former advisors and professors is teaching a horror cinema
That's
in
right.
Latin America
That's
class.
right.
So horror film, a lot of the time, is representative of society's failures. Right. Where we're
Okay.
lacking in society.
Okay.
Where our fears are.
Okay.
About what could potentially happen, what could go wrong, right? A lot of it is focused on, say, so The Shining is on murder,
Uh-huh.
right? People losing it, mental health.
Yeah.
And so you could look, it's a big reflection as to what that is.
Okay.
A lack of criminalization of the mentally ill and categorizing them as just murder, whereas like instead of looking at it as like this person was mentally ill, they were sick, what could have been done prior to that?
Okay.
To maybe, and how can this affect policy or whatever elsewhere,
Huh.
right? But mostly I agree with you in the sense that a lot of people just look at the film and be like, oh, this is what the lighting does. So lighting sets mood, right? Angles set, say a low angle looking up at a sub, puts them in a position of power, looking down puts them in a position of, what's the opposite of power? Well, the opposite of power. I can't remember, I can't think of the word. Right, so they're just less lower than submission. So they're submissive, right? Lighting creates mood, creates fear. Bright creates happy. It completely and a film is always a reflection of the society that's created it. There was a lot of really edgy, intense, loud sounds screeching in The Shining, which is also reflected in like Taxi Driver, which is right behind you. Right?
It is.
Which is, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of film. A lot of violence in the big urban centers at the time, New York City. There's a lot of crime going on at the time. Right, so it's really reflective of that fear of the violence creeping into the suburbs, like in The Shining. It's not happening in the city anymore. It's in Boulder and Denver. It's happening out in the wilderness.
Yeah. No,
Right?
and I know, and it's extremely interesting, right? And that's why
Yeah.
we do, because it's
Right.
extremely interesting to sit in a classroom and talk about this. It's our classes are fascinating, but sometimes I
Right.
get myself in my own head, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why
What
does
is it?
this
You know,
matter?
Bruno, our former colleague, he would say, he's like,
what do you-
he's like, it's just mental masturbation.
Oh yeah.
You're just sitting there, just like beating off mentally, being
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is so great! I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is amazing! I'm
Yeah.
learning all these cool things."
And then I stop and think, shouldn't I be sitting in, I don't know, working in a bank? I don't know, just making money, just like,
well, that's why I switched fields.
I don't know.
That's why I switched fields.
or
and
doing something for the world, right?
I had to convince the people that read me recommendation letters. They're like, "Why are you going to switch fields?" Like, they're like, "Why? Why?" They'll just continue with this, get a dual master's in this, in Spanish,
Yeah.
and teach.
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you kidding me? You guys just told me how fucked up the world is."
Yeah.
Showing me all this, all these cultural productions,
Mhm.
placing them in context, and I'm realizing how messed up the world is, reading all these critical texts. You've enlightened me to an extent, and I'm sitting here wondering, okay, well, I'm supposed to sit here and not do anything about it?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I thought to myself, where can I go? How can I equip myself
Mhm.
to potentially make the world a better place?
Mhm.
And for me, that was either law school, political science. Law school, all it is a bunch of paperwork. I mean, political science, it's the same thing, but you don't necessarily need a law degree to work in policy, right? And
Yeah.
also funding. You can't get really a lot of funding for law school.
Nice school, yeah.
So that's
And what is the plan after?
after? I mean,
A PhD.
after PhD. Well, I mean, my retirement career is going to be teaching. We know that. No, well, honestly, I mean, I've thought about it a lot. Hopefully, this takes off and we can make money off of this, and I can just run for office. On the
Nice, that
side.
would be nice.
Right? Yes, Kate. High five. Let's make money off of this bad boy.
Woo, damn straight.
Go big or go home. So make money off of this would be great. Do
Uh-huh.
productions, do stuff like that.
Mhm.
Do a bunch of cool, really like passion projects, and make money off of it.
Awesome.
That would be great. That way, I can focus my energy and my expertise in writing policy in New Mexico.
Mhm.
The reason I say I have to make money over here on the side and do that as a kind of like passively, I guess, is because we don't have professionalization in legislation in New Mexico. Unless in Albuquerque to an extent, with the mayor and other positions, but with a school board, you have to have a side job,
Yeah.
make money elsewhere.
Yeah.
In this House and the state Senate, you have to have money from other sources.
So do you think about running?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, almost have to be independently wealthy. Yeah,
You know Heather's moving here.
I know.
And
I know,
she
but
wants
told me
to-
keep it on the DL. We have a question.
We do have a question.
Ooh.
Our buddy Asteriously is watching. Hello, hello.
Hello.
And he wants to know what you guys both study.
Oh. Oh, we didn't.
He
Oh,
hasn't
gosh,
met you
thank
guys
you.
before, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Marina, you
Thank
go
you.
first. You're
Tell
the
us
guest.
what you do.
Well, I study what Oscar used to study, but I am a PhD student at our Portuguese and Spanish department. We like to call our department Cultural Studies. So we work with analysis of any cultural production, but in context.
Film.
So film, but always in
music,
context.
Social movements.
Exactly, social movements.
literature.
Mhm.
Anything that is a cultural production.
Yes, but always in context.
Right. So you have to say it's a song from Brazil.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. When was this song made?
Exactly.
And what was happening?
Mhm. What's the impact of the
Right.
song?
Right. And why is this song important?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
And my research is on urban planning.
Urban planning.
Yes, and urban planning in literature and film in Brazil, and movement of we call it peripheral or marginal characters. So works coming from the periphery or the favelas of Brazil.
Right, the periphery being its marginalized populations
Mhm.
or sections, geographical sections of a
Yes.
city or urban
Yes,
center.
not United States suburbans. Brazil suburbans, more
Right.
like favelas.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of this stuff translates to the U.S.
Mhm.
I mean,
Albuquerque.
Yeah. I mean, look at oh man, I had this experience this morning.
Okay, no, tell him what you do.
Okay. I am working on a doctorate in political science, in public policy and comparative politics, focusing in policy that criminalizes behavior that essentially funnels marginalized peoples, again, people who live on the periphery, into the carceral system, that be it prisons, institutions,
What's an
criminalization
example?
of essentially criminalizing their very existence, things that they need to survive.
Yeah.
Say it's things that we've been socially conditioned to believe that are criminal actions, which, I mean, to an extent, they are nonviolent crimes. Selling drugs because you can't make money at a minimum wage job to support your family. Having a firearm to protect yourself from potential robbery. The woman who has to be a sex worker to provide a formula for her child. Down to like loitering and poor people or homeless people actually existing on the sidewalk, that being illegal, right? Why do we criminalize that? What's going on there? I'm hoping to do a comparative study between cities somewhere where it's been decriminalized.
Are you working with Latin America or no? Just
Well, I mean, comparatively, I'd have to. I would like Latin America, but I mean, I think it'd be Portugal, Uruguay, or Vancouver, which are cities that have decriminalized drug possession, or drugs in general, narcotics, and have in turn invested their funds in rehabilitation in other programs that help people.
interesting.
That lower crime. These programs lower
I
crime.
completely believe it.
Yeah. So, what's the big
They're
issue?
decriminalizing, right?
Right,
So
right. What's lowers crime? Like violent crimes.
Okay.
Violent
Okay.
crimes lowers
Got it.
robberies, stuff
Okay.
like that. What's the big issue in Albuquerque? There's a lot of crime, right? That's what we're in the headlines for. A lot of the time, it's a violent city. But we were talking about, going back to my experience this morning,
Okay.
you were talking about marginalized places, Albuquerque, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was stuck on the west side this morning. There was a big accident. 2 people died on the highway, so they shut the highway down in both directions. My kid's mom, her car broke down, so I had to drive to the west side. Got there at 7:30, was driving back at 7:45, did not get back into the side of town until 7:30. Which makes me think, of infrastructure, right? How poor infrastructure is on the west side. And then the west side tends to consist of lower socioeconomic status people, who again live on a periphery. And it's if one of their arteries to get onto the side of town is cut off, they're stuck there. They can't get to work. They can't do anything.
And
then there's no bus lines.
yeah, exactly. The public transportation in
There's no
Albuquerque
bus lines
is
connecting
chaotic.
that side of town to this side of town, right? Don't even get me started on the division that happens between the Heights and the rest of town. There's only a few roads. There are one to 2 lanes, very low speed limits. There's no bus lines getting there. Essentially cutting the rest of the population off, or a certain segment of the population off, from the Heights, which tends to be upper middle class to elite class people.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this is just from driving around. This is the stuff that goes on in my head on a daily basis, without any understanding.
Definitely. Urban planning is made
just from
for
experiencing the planning on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Right. So I was stuck in 2 hours of traffic, and I'm just being like, this is a one-day thing. I'm gonna get over this. But there's people that have to deal with this on a daily basis, because if it wasn't for this part of town, that side of town would not be sustainable. Resources, jobs, anything. There's nothing over there. There's places to eat there, but nobody works over there, unless you're doing childcare, providing like basics, services like that. The service industry, right? Everyone's on this side of town, so everyone's getting over here. They have to commute back. You could consider it, and that's essentially what's happening in Albuquerque. I don't know. So running for office and solving all
Nice.
that, a lot of frustration in this guy.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know a lot about Albuquerque, but that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think that is going wrong, and then a lot of stuff that I think in Albuquerque is happening and affecting people, and it's getting blamed on the wrong people.
Who?
On criminals, right?
Mm.
Hold on a second. This thing keeps going out on me. So on criminals, right? But when I'm just like, well, we're stigmatizing these people.
Well, you
It's
always
like-
have to have an antagonist in every society.
Right. We're stigmatizing these people. They have a health issue. They're addicts.
Yeah.
It's a mental issue.
Yeah.
Instead of making it a health issue,
Yeah.
you criminalize it.
Yeah.
And you lock these people up, you institutionalize them, and then they have felonies, which is essentially revoking citizenship. Right? By labeling somebody a felon, they can no longer partake in certain civil duties by like voting.
Yeah.
Right? They
Yeah.
can no longer live in certain areas. They can no longer. It's difficult for them to get jobs.
You can't hold
They
office.
become even
They
more
can't hold
excluded.
office. They can no longer participate in normal society
Yeah.
to the extent that anybody else can.
Whoa.
Right? And with that, I mean, when that happens, you cut out, you're ostracizing them from society, and they can no longer integrate themselves back in society, and then therefore default back on a criminal way of life because there's no other way for them to support themselves. You know?
And what is so unique about Albuquerque? Why here?
Why do I want to do this?
No, why this happen so much here?
Well, we are a poor state. We are a poor state with generosity and welfare,
Okay.
and that attracts. I mean, mobility of poor people is not. It's not very easy for poor people to move. It's not, right? But it is possible, and if they see, I mean, and if they see that it's easier in certain places, they'll move to these places. Therefore, creating more marginalized groups in a system that essentially is not built for them, right? So it's not their fault that they exist. It's not their fault that they're moving here, because this is the place where they can get more help, which is great. But the system doesn't make it easy for them to get educated, for them to become represented, and for them to essentially create change, right?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
there's an influx of this when the political system, the social system isn't created for them to exist in this society.
And how about the investment on the how do you call that art project now?
Oh man, what
Is
do
it
you
gonna
think?
work something?
I like how
you've talked
I
about
like
it.
how you flipped the interview.
No. We were talking about transportation of
Well, I
and investment in public transportation, and
I think there's a lot of BS going on around about how the art project is here to help poor people and people who need to ride the transportation system. When along a corridor that already had a rapid ride system, a rapid transit system, right? They had the rapid ride.
Yeah.
So these people were getting along this corridor just fine. What didn't exist was a quality, and it still doesn't, is a quality lines, amount of lines, times, dates, that get people to this one corridor. So if you live along this area, great. But if it's difficult for you to get there, you're out of luck.
Definitely.
So now with art, it's the idea is like, oh, we're gonna put more money into it,
Yeah.
and it's gonna help them even more. It was already helping them if they lived along this area. What are you gonna do with money, or with these? They're saying, oh, we're gonna put rapid ride on San Mateo and other places. I'm like, okay, that's great, but if you're not improving times, if you're not improving lines along other streets, if a person has to walk 2 miles to get to a bus stop, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. In the short term, the idea is that it'll help people. It'll be a nice fancy e-bus system and buses and whatnot. It's going to look very pretty. The long-term fallout is that the system has a shelf life of 19 years. So So after 19 years, all the one-way roads are going to go back to being a 2-lane street. So it's just going to go back to how it was. In 19, that's the max it can help. The way it's being built now. Yeah. So what is happening, and it's going to happen sooner than 19 years, is that, or it's already happening now, is that development that's spurred on through the creation of this is essentially raising housing prices in the area and making it difficult for people who did use the system before.
Yeah.
Right? Who were these poor people that you're trying to help, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It's essentially pricing them out of this area.
Yeah.
They're moving elsewhere where the system doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And now who's using the system? Upper middle class people who can afford to live in this area.
Yeah, I can see. When does it start?
I don't know, man.
No. When like it comes from where?
Oh, I think it goes from Tramway to
Tramway.
to Unser.
Okay.
Right? And if you go to Tramway, it's just the suburbs.
Yeah.
And if you go to Unser, it's the suburbs, but really there's nothing out there.
Yeah, it's kind of the edge of the city.
It's the volcanoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and the
it
tramway is right up against the mountains, so it can't really go any farther.
So it's the edges of the city. And then so it goes all the way up there. Fine and dandy, which is fine. The idea is that but right now there's not many people out there. And there's no lines to get them to these centers at the end of towns, at the ends of Central, which is the corridor. So most of these people are just going to get in the car and drive to work.
Yeah.
And just park in the parking lot, and they can walk 5 feet and be at work.
Yeah.
Right? Also, the idea is like, it's going to help businesses in along this area. But if there's no parking, if there's no way to get these people to the bus, they're not going to take it. And if there's no parking for them to drive there, they're not going to go there. So, to an extent, you're kind of killing off this economic hub.
Well, but there's no parking now, and people still go.
Well, there's less parking now. There's going to be less parking. There's going to be minimal street parking, which a lot of people were doing, right? And pricing and parking is going to go up because it's just the demand. It's going to go up. So, do you see the issues?
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is that there's a lack of foresight. It's a Band-Aid on a bigger issue. There's lack of transportation.
Yeah.
You know.
There's.
And that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And in urban planning, if you want to help the people, you got to help all the people. You got to help all the people for more than 20 years. Right? You got to think ahead 50 years. What's the city potentially going to look like? How is this project potentially going to look like, or the fallout of it going to be? And does it outweigh anything? But unfortunately, that's not the point. The point is, for politics, is like, is it going to get you reelected?
Well, urban planning is a business too.
Well, absolutely.
And it has to follow the market too.
You know more about this. Tell me.
No. That's all there is. I don't know a lot about urban planning here, but yeah.
Well, what do you know about it in general?
Well, it follows a market. But urban planning, normally you have, in Latin America, you have 40% of money of urban planning going to private transportation. So.
The people who own the buses, you mean? Or who?
No. Private transportation, I mean cars.
To their own cars, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean cars. So yeah, you have the same problems. You have the you have people being pushed because of changes in routes that increase real estate prices.
Yes.
You have people pushed out of the areas, of the center areas, and then again, they do not have access to transportation, and of course, transit is related. It's related to freedom and the restriction of masses. You know, it's very pertinent politically. The restriction of masses in certain places and where they can restrictly move. Because how can a person that lives, I don't know, far away in Albuquerque and doesn't have a car, where can they go with the bus system?
Well, it depends how much time they have.
Exactly, right?
It's going to take you a couple of hours
Yeah, well, I was there. I was a student here when I got here.
You've taken
To
the bus
go
here,
to
yeah.
Coronado Mall,
Yeah.
I used to take an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah,
In Coronado Mall.
to Coronado Mall
You
from
know-
UNM area, from Ghetto Smiths right there.
So I've been running a lot lately. I ran to Coronado Mall in 15 to 20 minutes. And that's running slow.
Whoa,
So it takes, you'd be better off jogging there
that's
than taking the bus there from
in,
UNM.
in a lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
no,
jog,
yeah.
just, hey, let's
Yeah.
just go for a jog. We're going to get there
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
And that's the transportation system in Albuquerque.
Yeah, you cannot get a lot of places, and yes, you have to walk a lot to get a bus in Albuquerque.
Yeah, you have to find, and then it doesn't run regularly. It
Mm-mm.
runs every 30 minutes.
Yes.
I'm like, that's insane.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
insane. Every 30 minutes?
Yes.
And if you miss it, you're late.
Yes. And then you
So-
have to wait
Then you have to wait.
40 more minutes for the next
Oh,
one.
and then nothing against the people who ride Albuquerque. It's the ABQ ride. It's an interesting ride.
Yeah, it is.
It's an
Oh,
interest-
yeah.
It's an interesting ride.
You see the different layers of Albuquerque society on the bus here.
Oh, just everything. Whereas, like, okay, so you go to New York City.
As a woman, I kind of
It's
felt
rough.
threatened on it.
Absolutely.
It's really rough on the buses.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
I
it
don't
was
feel like
very
touching
hard
anything.
for me. I wouldn't like make eye contact with
Yeah.
anyone and just like wear like baggy clothes.
Oh yeah,
and
if you wear like a dress on there,
Oh,
forget
no.
about it.
Mm-mm. No, no
It's
way.
bad
So
news.
it's just bad. So you have to be
Mhm.
ready to kind of like
Yeah.
protect yourself.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was gonna say, in New York City, the public transportation was like clockwork. It's clean. It's nice.
Yes, but it does have the same problems too. It doesn't feed the
Every area.
well the poorest populations.
Right. You kind of have to.
Yeah,
work
it serves
with
the centers. All
Exactly.
public transportation serves the
center.
centers.
Because that's where it's more economically viable.
Well,
Nice.
and because you start to create the transportation system, and then populations get pushed
Right.
because
Yeah.
rent goes up.
Exactly. And that's what happened in New York City. But what I was
Mhm.
gonna get at is that whereas more people tend to ride it there, it's the people tend to take care of it. It's cleaner. I mean,
Yeah.
comparing Albuquerque Route 66
Yeah,
bus
true.
to with the L train.
Yes.
To the L train.
Yes.
You know, the air conditioning's nice. I mean, I was on the subway this summer and just being like, I want to go into the subway to get away from the dirty. And I was like, because it was just nice and clean.
Nice.
You know, and that was the difference
Yeah.
that's the difference between Albuquerque's and another city. I mean,
Yeah.
it's completely different monsters. Albuquerque and New York City are completely different things. Socially, culturally, economically, just different things.
But it is interesting how people that ride the buses,
Mm-hmm.
why there's such a why they're so careless with it. What's wrong with public transportation in Albuquerque?
Well, in Albuquerque, there's
Like-
again, it's like, well, it's this everything out west of the Mississippi was there was a lot of space. So
Why
this-
people? My question is why people behave the way they do in public transportation in Albuquerque.
Well, that's what I was getting at. So there's like it's everyone drives. It's build big roads. Everyone drives. So the idea of building a public transportation system in a city in the west that's not densely populated, is there's going to be less ridership,
Yeah.
and it's going to narrow down to the people that absolutely need it. And the people who absolutely need it are people who can't afford a car, and people who maybe are disabled, mentally ill, something like that, or who are just maybe incapable of like maybe even taking care of themselves, much less a transportation system, right? So and then the city doesn't value it because they're like, well, these people really aren't our bread and butter. They're not paying many taxes. They're essentially a leech off the system. They're not going to invest in much of the
So you
system.
think the public is gonna change after art?
I don't think so. That's the thing. I don't think it is. I don't think it is, and that's where the issue is. They're putting all their weight in people being like, "Hey, this bus looks nice. I'm gonna ride it now."
Are you gonna ride the bus?
I don't have a need for it. Where I live by my work and school, my kids' school is across the street, and I can ride my bike there and back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if I'm in that much of a hurry, I'm gonna drive my car
Yeah.
because the bus is gonna take
Oh, it's
15 to
gonna
30
take forever.
minutes.
Yeah.
And I can get from San Mateo and Lomas to UNM in riding really fast. I would made it to teach class in time. I got on my bike at 1:48 and I got to UNM in the classroom at 2. Why am I gonna ride the bus?
Yeah.
And I live in this area. I live 3 blocks from Central.
Yeah. No.
I'm not gonna use it. I don't need it.
It's a big problem.
It's I think people talk about it as more for people who don't live in this area, but it's like the coverage of the city is such crap that like it
Yeah.
only covers very specific areas, and you might have to take multiple transfers, and the whole thing takes an hour and a half, and it's like
Oh, I would totally take the
Yeah.
bus, even with the behavior inside the bus. I would totally take it if I had access to it.
yeah,
If
like
I-
if it actually went places where you needed to go,
Yeah.
right?
If I could walk down the block and know that I could get to visit my mom in the North Valley,
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
right.
But the closest bus stop, I've done that one time. One time I did that, and it took an hour. And the bus stop was an hour. I mean, not an hour, a mile from my mom's house.
Whoa.
Wow.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude, I'm just gonna drive there. It's gonna maybe take me 20 to 30 minutes at most.
Yeah.
At most, you know. I don't. It's just that's just what it is. That's just kind of what that's where we're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
We need a light rail.
Ah,
Every
what?
time it's basically a train.
like streetcars.
Yeah, like streetcars.
Ooh.
And I think that's kind of how people thought art was going to be originally, and then they were like, just kidding, it's actually just a bus.
Well, that was the idea. That's
Yeah.
what Marty Chavez wanted
Right.
for a long time.
And why didn't
They
that
took
happen?
well,
I
it was
have no
it's not
idea.
economically feasible, which
Yeah,
I don't get
which-
because they tore the
This
fuck out of
this
the
project
central
is not economically feasible.
They literally, yeah.
When
dude.
are they gonna finish that?
I assume.
I have no idea.
I don't think it's soon.
Well, they say it's
Now they opened the whole UNM area right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, finally.
But it's just like, but I don't get it. It's gonna be, and then with Albuquerque's bad drivers, dude.
Oh my
I
god.
was like, there's gonna be so many wrecks. Before that, there was already rapid ride buses running into cars and
Yep.
causing wrecks. I'm like, this is gonna be mayhem.
I just
Are they gonna still have the bike wrecks? Cause that's
Oh,
chaotic.
they've gotta have that. I mean, otherwise,
Mhm.
I mean,
That
how
takes
could you
so
put 'em in?
long,
Yeah, they're
though.
freaking annoying.
They
but
don't
it's like,
work. Like, find
no,
something
they
else.
gotta upgrade that or something.
Well, I mean, I can go on and on about how many other systems there are.
Yeah.
Like the Portland area system. I mean, it's amazing.
They have a light rail.
They have a light rail.
Lovely.
They have a bus system.
Yep.
They have fucking tram in the city to get you from like the top of
Really?
this massive
Yeah.
hill to down to this downtown area.
It's so nice.
And
And you
it's
can
like-
it's quick. You
Yeah.
can get anywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
It's on a grid system.
Are you
so
a
it's-
Portland lover too?
I am a Portland lover. I've only been there once, but I have some family
I
who
have to
live
go
there.
there. Everyone
It's
around
really
loves
cool.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
and since I've been there the last few times, I've taken when I have my kids or I'm with somebody else or I'm going to an event, there I rent a car or borrow my sister's car because she's at work or doesn't need it. But when I'm just me by myself, dude, I walk a couple blocks. I get on the bus and the bus runs on time.
That's awesome.
It runs regularly every 15 minutes, and it's getting you from A to B. And then you can download an app and it's on your phone.
Nice.
There is an app for the Albuquerque bus system, but it's not very good.
And you can't buy tickets on
Yeah.
there.
No. But you can do the live view, so you can actually see where it is.
Really?
This is
It's
what
not the best, but it's okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've tried it. Yeah. So it's a long way to go. It's a
Yeah.
long way to go.
Yeah.
So this is our podcast on art.
Yeah, right? Like this is we went from
rapid
academia to
Right?
horror movie lighting to
Well-
transportation.
Well,
It's
but let's
great.
make connections about it.
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is the type.
Like a good
this
professor.
is yeah,
Right?
right. Wrapping up.
Yeah.
What did we
Let's
learn
tie
today?
a bow.
No, this is the type of constructive discussion that has to be in academia. Less
Mhm.
Foucault and
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like Foucault applied.
Yeah.
Well, definitely Foucault, but how do
Applied,
we
applied.
apply it to our daily lives?
Yeah. Yeah.
How is this relevant in Albuquerque
Yes.
right now?
Yeah.
You get that. You get people. Their gears just turning, and they're like, maybe I should run for office.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it. You know, I'm gonna do it.
Maybe you're gonna be the first Latino president. You never know.
I don't know. Why do people immediately jump the second I say run for office? People immediately jump to president.
Because we need another one.
Set the bar low.
We're definitely not happy with
You
this one.
You gotta start small. You know?
I mean, if anything, this president's taught me that anyone can fucking
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's zero
And-
qualifications.
Well, not anyone can do the job, but anyone can get elected.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. You just have to have a penis.
God, fucking tell me about it, dude. Speaking
Yeah.
of Hillary,
Oh yeah.
I am gonna buy this shit out of her book.
I want to buy her children's book. Did you read that one? It's called "It Takes a Village."
Okay.
So she published 2 books. She came out with 2 books this week.
Children's book?
So one of it's children's books to teach public policy and politics to kids, and it's called "It Takes a Village." I think that's the
Oh.
right information. Oops.
No.
Nice.
And I'm gonna buy that for my kids.
Right?
Yeah.
That sounds
that's it.
cool.
Yeah.
Get them started on that, and then the other one, where she's just tearing
Yeah.
people to shreds.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, you just need to be a man, and you are one. So.
Well, yeah, I'm a man and minority, so it's not perfect, but I'm close.
Checking some boxes.
Yeah, just checking some boxes. No, as a minority and as a woman, you have to prove yourself even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even more so.
Yeah.
When you're a white man, they just give you the benefit of the doubt. They're just like, oh, hey, you're a good looking white guy.
Yeah, I
You're
feel
what was his name that was cheating on his wife with cancer? John Edwards.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you're John Edwards? Go for it, dude. Run for president. Fine, man. I don't care. Anthony Weiner. How many times are we gonna forgive this guy?
Dude, maybe one of the most punchable faces in U.S. politics.
Dude, seriously.
Besides maybe Ted Cruz.
Is this? Wait. But I almost feel
takes the
bad.
Are we
cake
still
and
talking
punchable
about
Ted
him?
Cruz is bad. He's bad. Don't get me wrong, but I almost feel bad for the guy with how many people hate him, dude.
I know.
Oh, how many people what?
Hate him. Oh,
Or just make fun of him.
Oh yeah.
And then, like, in his own colleagues in the Republican Party.
Oh yeah. They hate him.
They hate him.
His kids and wife don't like him. Like, I've seen so much shit where, like, he'll be trying to, like, be affectionate and they're just like, get away from me.
Don't touch me.
Oh, but did you guys
It's
see the
awful.
great pictures of Trump and
Oh, Melania, yeah, I've seen that too, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, like,
Where
slapping
she
the
slaps
hand.
his hand
Yeah.
away.
Slapping the hand.
Huh?
And
Yep.
well, yeah.
who can stand men like that?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to.
Do we have conservatives listen to this? Hopefully not, right?
I mean,
Occasionally, yeah.
it's
got all
fine.
kinds of
I
people.
mean,
Yeah.
everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome, but I mean, I hope they do. So we have some discourse,
Yes.
some discussion.
Yes, that's true.
All are welcome. And if you're listening on the podcast and not watching, please send emails, send comments, because you're not listening live.
Yeah.
It's
And you were gonna tell us about your project.
what project?
You said you had a project.
Oh, the song, the
live
podcast.
yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding us. Look, you should be on more. You should start a podcast interviewing people.
I know,
She's
right?
good at leading conversation. So it's the Pods New Mexico Podscape. It's going to be
Okay.
at the Press Club here in Albuquerque on the 23rd of September.
Okay.
It's going to go from noon to about, I think, 10 to 12 p.m. or a.m. to midnight, noon to midnight. And it's going to be several different podcasts on talking, doing a live show. Essentially this, but in front of people. And it's different podcasts from New Mexico and Albuquerque.
Cool.
Yeah. So
About everything.
About everything. So not this podcast, but the other podcast I'm on, dating another path to podcast. To suicide.
Dating
suicide
Lie?
podcast, synonyms.
Dating
Yeah.
Lie?
So what?
Dating.
Dating in other paths to suicide.
Yes.
Yeah. So that one's the one that we're gonna do, and we're gonna do that at
Okay.
5 p.m. that day. So if you're listening or you're watching,
Yep.
and you can check it out. We're gonna try to do a live show. If not, we'll put it up later.
Yep.
Streaming live.
Yeah, the internet situation is still
Hasn't been
in
figured
flux,
out yet,
yes.
but we're gonna be on there, and it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be a good time. Come
Yeah.
out. It is in a bar setting, so hang out, grab some drinks, maybe some food, and just
Nice.
check out the show.
And where did you say it was?
The Press Club. It's Highland Park. It sits right between, I want to say, Gold Street and Lead.
Okay. Do you have to pay to go in?
No, I don't believe so. No, it's
Cool.
a press club. It's a membership club, but I don't. It's an event, so I don't think.
Yeah, I think anybody can go that night.
Go that night. So that's what we're doing. Come check us out. It's going to be a rad time. It's going to be several different podcasts.
Awesome.
Find me on Facebook.
Can we take babies in helmets?
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going in a helmet, so I think it's
We'll
a
all be
prerequisite.
wearing helmets.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
It's going to be, if you have questions, you want to be invited to the event on Facebook and get the details, go to the Land of Enlightenment podcast Facebook page, Land of Enlightenment, at Land of Enlightenment on Instagram, ask me on there, or just find me, Kegwai_L Oscar with a K on Instagram as well, right? Or the Land of Enlightenment podcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
And you guys can find information on there. And
Cool.
we can
Cool.
all hang out and just be best friends.
That's right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So then next week we've got the DOPS podcast on orgasms, right?
Yeah,
On Wednesday.
next
So
week,
we're
yeah.
doing
Oh,
two.
who are you
We're
talking
doing
to?
two.
So no, it's just me and a co-host.
Yeah.
Nicole. We're doing orgasms, and then the live show is going to be X-Files.
Yep.
Meaning
The X's.
The X-Files
Yep.
meaning X.
The EX-Files.
Like our
That
X's.
is
Yep.
cool.
The X's.
Cool.
So we're going to talk about X's on
It
the
should be fun.
in-person show.
It's a good
The
one.
event. That should be good.
Everybody's
be
got them.
Everyone's got them. Even if you don't want them. Everyone has an X, man.
Halsey says, "Get those greasy eyeballs looked at, buddy."
Those
See, that's,
Your greasy eyeballs
my
you were
greasy
talking
eyeballs.
about.
Oh, yeah, dude.
see, that's the good thing about going to grad school so far from home.
What's that?
X's are very far.
Oh, they're
Oh
very
yeah,
far
it's
away.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to track them down and send them in this episode.
That's right.
But we do have listeners, and at least the podcast does have listeners all over the world. So,
Cool.
and yeah, we
Yeah.
do. So,
Yeah,
just-
we've got at least one UK viewer at the moment.
Oh,
Everybody's too
nice.
black,
we got
so-
the UK.
Yeah.
I know we have another in the UK. We have a couple in Japan. We have some in South America, and then all over the US. Our friend Heather always listens in Miami,
Nice.
but she
Cool.
might be an Albuquerque listener soon.
Let's send a big
I'm
hug to
gonna
Heather.
have her on
We
this
love
show.
you.
I'm gonna have her on
Oh,
this
cool.
show.
Nice.
Yeah, because she's great. She's just a well of knowledge, that girl.
She
And
is.
she's probably gonna run for office. And
Yes.
Probably win. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people around me lately have been talking about running for office at some point.
Kate, have you thought about it?
Very little.
Kate, you didn't say what you study.
I study growth and development. So
Ooh.
I am an evolutionary anthropologist.
Oh.
And I study how your environment while you're growing up can affect your sort of ultimate growth outcomes as an adult and then health later on in life.
Whoa.
Age, you know?
Very interesting.
So
Yeah.
So you work with the anthropology department?
I do, yeah.
Oh,
So
we have a friend called Matt. He's
Matt Schwartz?
Matt Schwartz.
he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Matt Schwartz?
Yeah, I was like, oh, that makes sense because he
His
speaks
wife is
Portuguese
Brazilian.
and- yeah, there you go.
We
Yeah.
all know
So
each
he's
other.
He's
why-
got the Brazilian babies,
Yes, he does. Two girls.
Yeah, they're
Isabella
are
and Maya.
the cutest little girls in the whole world.
They are. They
they're
are.
fun. They're fun. Okay,
So,
cool.
all right. Well,
We're
thanks
good.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks
Thank you
for
for
watching.
listening.
Have a great night, and we will see you next week, and hopefully see you tomorrow for the next episode of Science Happy Hour. So there you
Enjoy,
go.
guys.
All right. See ya.
Bye.